professes his love for Eleven in the real world. Eleven is given a renewed strength to fight Vecna. Meanwhile, Hopper, Joyce, and Murray successfully defeat the Russian Demogorgons, which clears away the bats and vines in the Upside Down. Finally,
why? And why just the bats and vines in the Upside Down and not Vecna himself? Why is Vecna not reeling from that? Hive mind pain sharing? That's stupid. Because why is it not making Vecna hurt right now? Why does it only hurt what's convenient to what the main characters are being affected by?
freed, Steve, Nancy, and Robin attack Vecna's body, setting it on fire. As Vecna dies, he tells Eleven that despite her best efforts, she had still lost. Max succumbs to her wounds in the real world and dies in Lucas's arms, opening Vecna's final gate. With all of
W. Someone finally important dies.
the gates open, they begin to rip through the entire town of Hawkins, destroying everything in their path and killing several people, including Jason. A distraught and defeated Eleven manages to
Rip
use
Jason,
her
I guess.
powers
Wait,
to miraculously
Jason just happened to be
Jason-
lying right where the fault line was?
A distraught
And it rips him open? That's gruesome.
destroying everything in their path and killing several people, including Jason.
But why was he just laying right there?
A distraught and defeated Eleven manages to use her powers to miraculously resurrect Max. 2 days
What? Since when can she do that? Since when? Have we ever seen that before from anybody? Okay, that is literally my least favorite trope. It happened in the Fantastic Four movie too. But at least that has a little bit of a basis in like comic book accuracy because Franklin Richards can do kind of whatever he wants. But Eleven at no point was ever even, from what I've seen in this video, at no point was even referenced or mentioned to be a healer. She was like, "Don't worry, I can save you. Zzz, zzz, you're alive now." Not even alive. This isn't even healing. She resurrects Max from the dead. That's not just healing. She brought her back to life. Okay, no wonder nobody dies. No wonder nobody dies in this freaking show. But you can't res Bob. Wait, how did Bob die? Demodogs? Did I hear that? Was that in season 2? Oh, you're right. Bob did get Demodogs in season 2. This is true. But to be fair, Bob has to die so that Joyce and Hopper can get together. You know? He was always going to die. Because if he didn't die, then Joyce and Hopper couldn't be together. Is it cool dude though? Yeah, rest in peace. Hey, back at Tim with the King, thank you. This is why we're watching this show that has no black people. Wait a minute. Lucas is not even in this shot.
later, Eleven, Mike, Jonathan, Will, and Argyle finally make it back to Hawkins to reunite with their friends. The entire town
He wasn't
is
even that shot
evacuated.
either. Where is he at? Where is Luke? What is Luke doing? Or Lucas, not Luke. You know what I mean?
Waiting, and Steve, Robin, and
Still not here. Where's the black guy?
decide to volunteer at an emergency shelter. Max is alive.
There he
but
is.
in
Just chilling in the back.
a coma with no trace of her in her own mind. Hopper finally makes it back to Hawkins to reunite with Eleven, and although the reunion is happy now, the group knows that their greatest battle yet is still ahead. Will Byers, still feeling his connection to the Mind Flayer, confirms to the group that Vecna is still alive. And now, the Upside Down is taking over Hawkins. In Season 5 of Stranger Things, 18 months have passed since Vecna successfully...
Bad ending. So, Season 4 so far has the worst ending of all the seasons that we looked at. My favorite ending so far goes from season 3, season 2, season 1, season 4.
Opened his gates.
Also, 18 months?
5 of Stranger Things, 18 months have passed since Vecna successfully opened his gates to bring the Upside Down into Hawkins. Military units have successfully closed the gates and quarantined the entire town, with the residents forced to go on with life as normal, despite now living in a militarized zone that they can't escape. Leading this military unit is Dr. K, who operates from a base inside the Upside Down and tasks her soldiers to mercilessly hunt down Eleven. Meanwhile, Eleven is living in hiding with her adoptive father Hopper, who trains her to better control her powers. Hopper is finally in a relationship with his longtime unrequited love Joyce Byers, and secretly working alongside his ragtag group of allies in the hopes of finding the long missing Vecna and defeating him once and for all. While aiding in the quest to defeat Vecna, the friends Mike, Will, Dustin, and
but they are still going to school, I guess?
Try to continue their normal high school lives. Mike struggles with seeing his girlfriend Eleven fleetingly as she is constantly in danger of being caught by Dr. K's forces. Will is still secretly in love with his best friend Mike, though gets a pep talk from Robin and finding his worth in himself. Dustin is constantly harassed and attacked by school bullies who target him for his continued honoring and loyalty to the late Eddie Munson. And then there's Lucas, who constantly visits the comatose Max in the hospital, playing her favorite song on repeat in the hopes it somehow wakes her up. Elsewhere, Nancy, Jonathan, Steve, and Robin all work together at a local
Too many
radio
names,
station.
please. Please, if you're gonna say names, you have to put them on the screen. I'm still trying to learn. Nancy, Jonathan, Steve, and Robin. Robin's the lesbian. Steve is the boyfriend. Jonathan is the brother. Nancy's the sister. Okay. I got it.
Known as
all the older kids.
Squawk, which they actually use as a base of operations for the mission to defeat Vecna, and use their radio broadcast to relay coded messages to their allies. Amidst the world-threatening stakes, Steve still tries to one-up Jonathan at every opportunity to impress Nancy, while Jonathan secretly buys an engagement ring but is unsure of the right time to propose. Robin begins dating a nurse at the local hospital named Vicky, but her secret missions to find Vecna constantly get in the way of their romance. With
Lock in, Robin.
To the quarantine zone by Murray, the team stages a mission known as a crawl, in which Hopper sneaks through the military's gate to the Upside Down in the hopes of finding Vecna, while the others track him from the outside. Unfortunately, this crawl goes horribly wrong, as Will is suddenly overcome by a psychic connection to a Demogorgon, seeing through its eyes as it attacks Hopper, leaving him stranded in the Upside Down, then creates a rift to the real world to attack the unsuspecting Wheeler residents. There, the unaware Wheeler parents Karen and Ted are brutally attacked by the creature and left for dead, while Mike and Nancy's younger sister Holly mysteriously vanishes. Eleven gives chase to the Demogorgon, following it through its
Bro,
rift
why
to
does he
the
keep messing with
Upside
this one specific family? Or sorry, these two specific families. Are there no other kids in the Upside Down? I mean, wait, what is it called? Hawkins? There's no other kids? He's after 11? Okay, what does kidnapping Holly do for that? I don't know. It's gonna be explained, I think. Maybe.
Down, where she reunites with the stranded Hopper. Together, the father and daughter duo team up to find and save Holly, all the while evading the military forces and the dangerous creatures inhabiting the area. At the hospital, the emotional Mike and Nancy visit their seriously injured mother, who reveals that Holly's imaginary friend Mr. Whatsit also goes by the name Henry. And that's when Mike and Nancy realize
Why would
that their
she?
sister...
Okay. Why would Henry tell the little girl that he's trying to lure in his real name? Did he slip up? And he was like, "Hi, Holly. My name is Henry. I mean, Mr. Watson." He didn't. Then how does she know that? Vibes, I guess. She felt it through the Upside Down. What his real name was. Why if I could keep kidnapping and killing kids? Who knows at this point? You know what I mean? I think he went, "I'm Henry," and the little girl went, whatever, Mr. What's it. But then why are you telling this little girl your name, your real name? Why? Just say your name is Bob or something.
Holly was taken by the villainous Vecna himself. Using his peaceful human form, Henry takes Holly to a perfect recreation of his childhood home, lying about protecting her from monsters like the Demogorgons. Henry then leaves Holly alone in the house, warns her not to enter the surrounding woods, and then departs to supposedly rescue all of her young classmates. In Henry's absence, Holly is confronted by a stranger in the woods, revealed to be an alive and well Max. Max warns of Vecna's villainy and explains that they are both trapped inside Henry's memories, where the only place they are safe from his evil grasp is a cave he is seemingly unable to enter. Max also laments her own efforts to escape the dream world and wake from her coma, as Lucas's continued efforts of playing her favorite song opens a portal back to freedom that Vecna has constantly thwarted her from using. Meanwhile, Will
Wait, but she's not in the cave at that point. Why doesn't he just kill her there? You know what I mean? So the only place that they're safe from Vecna is the cave. But
from her coma,
when the music is playing and the portal's open in this random place, she runs. She's out the cave.
Song opens a portal back to freedom that
then it closes, and then Henry just closes the portal and doesn't just kill her. He's just like, haha, joke's on you. You thought you could do it.
Thwarted her from using. Meanwhile, Will realizes that his recent psychic visions are actually him seeing through the eyes of Vecna. With this knowledge, Will and his allies devise a plan to rescue the children of Holly's class before the evil Vecna can take them for his own mysterious purpose. Lucas recruits his younger sister Erica to help kidnap the troublemaking kid Derek Turnbow and use him as bait. Although the plan begins successfully, with Nancy shooting a Demogorgon with the tracker in the hopes of following it to Vecna's lair, things quickly go awry when the Demogorgon attacks the defenseless Derek, Joyce, Erica, and Robin. Will strangely manages to distract
Johnny Sar. Thank you for the 10 months. 10 gifted subs. I can't read. Much appreciated. We're talking about Stranger Things, apparently.
The Demogorgon long enough for Steve, Dustin, Jonathan, and Nancy to arrive to run it over with their car before pursuing it through a rift into the Upside Down.
Wait, what do they mean pursuing it? They ran him over with the car and then left
their car before pursuing.
I guess maybe it was because of cut there. So I guess it got up and then ran, and then they just followed it through the portal.
It through a rift into the Upside Down. Inside the Upside Down, the group lose track of the Demogorgon, but manage to contact
what? There's a tracker on it.
11 over the radio. The separate groups both encounter an impenetrable wall.
Why even add the tracker? Why even add the tracker as a plot point if it becomes immediately useless? Just do this anyway.
The entire town, with its center being the Hawkins lab building where 11 was experimented on, and Henry was first transformed into Vecna. Hopper and 11 managed to capture Lieutenant Akers, a soldier working for Dr. K. 11 uses her powers to enter Akers' mind, discovering that Dr. K's upside-down base houses a vault where something or someone with incredible power is being held. Theorizing this to be Vecna, 11 and Hopper race to defeat the villain, though after breaking into the military base, the pair discover that the vault actually contains Callie, 11's old friend and the number 8 child of Dr. Brenner's experiments. Meanwhile, Dr. K realizes that children in Hawkins are being rounded up by supernatural forces. Wrongly believing 11 to be the perpetrator, she has her soldiers round up all of the children herself to keep them detained in supposed safety.
Yeah, put them all in one place. That makes it super hard for him to get them.
Will has another vision in which he sees Holly captured and ensnared in Vecna's tentacles, with places open for 12 total children to be held. Fearing the military are unprepared to protect the children from Vecna, Mike, Lucas, Erica, Joyce, Will, Robin, Murray, and Derek stage a prison break to free them. Unfortunately, this prison break goes horribly wrong, as 3 Demogorgons arrive from the Upside Down and begin slaughtering anyone who stands between them.
Okay, why only 3? Why doesn't he send like 12? Why doesn't he send like 50? Why only 3? Also, there are a lot of names. I stopped paying attention. Who's Derek? No idea. I don't even know if he said Derek. I stopped paying attention to the names. There is absolutely no way that I can keep track of who is who with what names. Derek is the fat kid? Oh, okay. Cool.
And the children. After collecting all 12 of his child targets, including Derek, Vecna arrives to confront Will, telling him that these children are perfect vessels for his plot to take over and reshape the world. As Vecna victoriously returns to the Upside Down, he tasks his Demogorgons to kill Will's loved ones. But before they can...
Why didn't he just do it himself? Why he's like, Demogorgons who've been routinely defeated this entire 4 seasons of the show before this, go ahead and do my dirty work and kill these people. I'm not even gonna watch. Goodbye. It would have taken like 10 seconds.
Will realizes that his connection to Vecna, created during his original capture in the Upside Down, also gives him the psychic ability to overpower the Demogorgons, triumphantly defeating them.
Why? And why doesn't Max have these abilities herself? Because she's also been taken to the Upside Down. You know what I mean? Like, why doesn't everybody who's ever entered the Upside Down get these abilities? How is Will different? She's in a coma. So what? Like, the point is, like, what makes him different? Why does he get magic powers? At this point, the entire cast has entered the Upside Down. Everybody has. He was there for like days. Mac has been there for 18 months. Max has been there way longer than Will was when he was first kidnapped. Will was there enough to down physically, and Vecna was doing some alterations. You can't just say hive mind. Everybody's in the physical world. Okay, well then, okay. Then, I don't know, freaking. Literally anybody. Like, Dustin was in the freaking Upside Down too. Physically, with his body. Steve was in the Upside Down. Lucas was in the Upside Down with their physical bodies. Like, because Vecna put his seed in him. Vecna pumped Will's bodies with particles. But why? Why would Vecna do that? Vecna would willingly give Will these capabilities. Narratively, it makes no sense. Yeah, why? He said it's to use him for what? Use him as an avatar to control them in season 2? For what? For vibes. To what end? To spy? For what? For what purpose? For vibes? To build the tunnels? The tunnels for what? What does he want? He's just like, I want to take over the world in season 5. But like, none of his actions, like, because what he's doing now, none of what he's doing now needed him to have Will as a person with powers. He needed 12 kids. He was kidnapping a single kid. He kidnapped Will because he wanted to make Will a spy. To spy on 11 because he wanted to kill 11. That's fine. Then he just dropped that entire thing because now he wants to take over the world. He just stopped wanting to kill 11. He's like, well, okay, well, I failed at that. Time to now take over the world, I guess. Season 5, Brad was very frustrated by this too, and behind the scenes, the Duffer Brothers just ignored it. Stranger things have happened. Miles banned that guy. They know it's indecisive. The writer said Vecna needed 12 kids because he likes clocks. Awesome. Awesome.
Save his friend.
The real answer is they got greenlit for a season 1 that they wrote with a good premise. They made a very good season 1, and then had to BS their way to the rest of the material. That's the actual answer. Right? They kind of fumbled their way a little bit through season 2, but they came out with a good product. And then season 3 was the best piece of material that they came out with. And it had a good ending that wrapped everything up in season 3. But they saw dollar signs in their eyes. And they needed to come up with something more. That's why Vecna isn't mentioned by name until season 4. Like, oh, we killed the Mind Flayer. Well, actually, now it's Vecna now. They went through an anthology series like American Horror Story, and Netflix made them stay the same characters. Netflix. Also, there's Nyx. Look at her sleeping. We actually an anthology series that followed a different settings. So I think most of the problems is the same characters things. Excuse me.
Still reeling over his new powers, Will is encouraged by his mother Joyce to use his connection to Vecna to defeat him once and for all. In order to reconnect to the villain, Lucas suggests using electricity from the radio tower to reanimate one of the dead Demogorgons, which will—
Based on what? How do they know they can do that? Frankenstein? You never watched Frankenstein? It's not real! How do they know that? Okay, stop. That's like, okay, chat. That's like saying, okay. That's like, imagine like you had Will who was like, wait, we need to get to the upside down, but all the portals are closed. And then Dustin was like, wait, have you seen? You can see what I was gonna say? Back to the Future. We hop into the DeLorean and we drive 88 miles per hour exactly. And then zoom, we end up in the upside down. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. How do they know that would work? And then you're like, have you not seen Back to the Future? Like, yes, I've seen Back to the Future, but that makes no sense. That's literally a scene bar for bar. Stop it. You're lying to me. Stop it. You're lying to me. 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 I don't believe you. I don't believe you because I just made that up. I just made that up. Just now. That's how it's written. You're the secret third Duffer brother.
Will then taps into to see inside Vecna's mind. Meanwhile, Vecna takes the captured children into his memories, where he appears as Henry Creel and convinces them all of his benevolence. As Max and Holly continue their
okay,
efforts
but
to
like,
find a way.
why does he need the kids to think that he's benevolent or benevolent, or as Nick Charlie would say? Why didn't he just like take the kids, put them all into these pods, and then, I don't know, do whatever he wants to do with them? Why does he need them to agree with him? If he wants to siphon their energy because you need 12 children for some reason, like, Wait a minute. The Demogorgons can just rip their own holes into the Upside Down? They do that in season 1? Okay. But I thought a hole could only be created at a site where Henry killed somebody. That was like a big thing in season 3. There was like, oh, well, we need to go to somewhere where Henry killed somebody because that's where the hole is. That's just a Henry hole? Well, how is that different? A different kind of hole? How is it different? Before the worlds were connected? That doesn't explain how it's different.
Come on. What are you doing, man? We gotta turn around.
The gates are kind of like peanut butter poppers, right?
What?
The outside's like crunchy and tough, but then you bite down on it, gives way to a gooey, creamy core.
Dude, what the hell are you talking
what that video we saw about Stranger Things writings is very, very realistic. It's always somebody being like, wait, are you telling me this is like a jar of Jiffy peanut butter? Everybody's like, what? What are you talking about? No, listen, it makes sense. I promise. Right? It has a red top that is, you can twist it and you open it to get to the good stuff inside. You're just like, wait, and that means it's like Vecna. Yeah. Is that just how the entire season is? Just consistently? It's all bad analogy. Are you sure you're not a third dumber brother?
I drive fast enough, I think the Beamer could punch a hole straight into the gate, and then we can track the demo on its home turf in the Upside Down. Follow it straight back to Holland.
We're losing the signal. We're not gonna be able to follow anything if we crash.
We're not gonna crash if it's like a buffer.
It's almost gone.
Do it.
I got it.
We're not gonna make it work. Stop. Slow down, Jesus Christ! Oh my God! Come on!
I told you.
There's no sense of horror in this season, in this series anymore. Oh, okay. I want to watch this too. 43 plot holes in Stranger Things? Yes, please.
Home, Vecna threatens to kill Derek's entire family if he doesn't help thwart their escape attempt. As Vecna
Wait, what?
confronts Derek's sentence. As Max and Holly continue their efforts to find a way home, Vecna threatens to kill Derek's entire family if he doesn't help thwart their escape attempt.
What? Why? Like, you have the kids. What do you need them for? Like, what do you? What? What? We still don't even really know what he needs the kids for in the first place, but he has the kids. So, like, what's going on?
As Vecna confronts Max and begins choking her to death, Will manages to use his connection to temporarily overpower the villain and help Max and Holly escape, though this exertion of energy leaves him comatose in the real world. After reaching Hawkins'
Wait,
lab
he didn't
in
show the
Upside
scene that
Down-
I always saw. He's like, I need you to run.
Dustin theorizes that to bring down
His
the
eyes
wall
glazed over.
separating them from saving Holly, they must find and destroy a powerful generator. And so he teams up with Steve, while Nancy and Jonathan team up to search for the power source. Amidst this search, Steve confronts Dustin over his recent reckless behavior, disparaging Eddie's
Are you sure
sacrifice
astral projection? No idea.
sacrifice as pointless, dumb, heroic, his recent reckless behavior, or the power source. Amidst this search, Steve confronts Dustin over his recent reckless behavior, disparaging Eddie's sacrifice as pointless, dumb heroics. This causes Dustin to attack Steve, breaking their radio and therefore destroying their only means of communication with the others. Dustin then finds Dr. Brenner's old
Great
journal,
job, Dustin.
where he discovers that the Upside Down is actually a wormhole that connects Earth to another dimension in which Vecna has built his lair. And
What?
so if the generator is destroyed and the walls come down, everything and everyone inside the Upside Down will be sucked into the oblivion of space. Dustin
What?
desperately tries to warn
Okay, wait, run that by me one more time.
to another journal, where he discovers that the Upside Down is actually a wormhole that connects Earth to another dimension in which Vecna has built his lair.
What? I thought the Upside Down was created a bajillion years ago. And that's where Henry was first banished to. But that layer was just... So that's the Abyss? Nope, they changed it? Okay. So, okay. Okay. What does that change? Did they just retcon it so there's added tension in the final season? So if they get stuck in the Upside Down, they just die? Will created it? Will created the Upside Down? What's the point of the Abyss though? I don't know. Like, why does it need to be different? It seems like it's just for added tension. Right? They just wanted added tension for season 5 so that if you're stuck in the Upside Down when the show is over, you basically die. Kind of thing. Kind of allude to it in season 4 where they show Henry getting blasted by Elle initially. He ends up somewhere that doesn't look very Upside Down-ish. But then why it just... The Upside Down was made when 11 first made contact with the Demogorgons? What? Henry said it will help create more layer or something? What? The Abyss is where the Mind Flayer lives. 11 in season 1 sent him to the Abyss where she created a wormhole, which is the Upside Down. But why did they talk about the Upside Down that like it was its own like dimension? I'm just confused about what was necessary by it. Like, why was it necessary?
And so, if the generator is destroyed and the walls come down, everything and everyone inside the Upside Down will be sucked into the oblivion of space. Dustin desperately tries to warn Nancy and Jonathan of this revelation, but fails due to his broken radio. And so, after finding the sphere of energy that powers the wormhole, the unaware Nancy shoots it, destroying part of the surrounding wall. Hopper, 11, and Kali are caught by surprise as the broken wall tries to suck them all into the depths of space. Fortunately, 11 uses her powers to protect herself and her allies, and lead Hopper and Kali back to the real world where they share an emotional reunion with Joyce and Mike. Unfortunately, Nancy and Jonathan sink into a part of Hawkins' lab that begins to melt from the destroyed exotic matter. With no way to escape, Nancy and Jonathan hash out all of their relationship issues, realizing they've been bonded together by the supernatural circumstances plaguing them and not out of compatibility as romantic partners. And so, despite their love for each other, Nancy and Jonathan break up and embrace to face death together. As Steve tries recklessly to save them, Dustin breaks down in
L
anguish,
for that
acknowledging
ship, I
his
guess.
grief over Eddie's death and his fear that he will lose Steve too, leading the pair to reconcile their friendship. Fortunately for everyone, the exotic matter stops melting the lab, allowing Dustin, Steve, Nancy, and Jonathan to reunite and escape together. Meanwhile, the unconscious Will is confronted in his mind by Vecna, who explains that Will was used as a child during
Quick, play his favorite song.
Capture to build the tunnels that connect Hawkins to the Upside Down. And
But
now,
why? Okay, so Will was captured because Vecna wanted to build tunnels to connect Hawkins to the Upside Down. For what reason? I guess he wanted out. But how does that do that? To take over the world? But how does that do that? World domination? But how does that do that? To bridge the abyss in the real world so you can take over the real world? But how does that do that? Like you can't just say something. Look at it, like it solves all the plot holes. He has to have some connective tissue there. Like he can't just say, "Yes, Will, you were my pawn to build these tunnels." And Will's like, "I know why you used me for world domination." And I'm just like, wait, hold on. How does that do that? How do the tunnels connect to dominating the world? And what do the 12 children have to do with this? You know? I think the more gates, the weaker the fabric of Earth and other dimension. But the Demogorgons can make their own gates. Like we just established. Like 10 seconds ago. So why did he need Will at all? The Demogorgon gates are not good? Why? Those gates are temporary and different? Why? Just cuz? The Demogorgons cannot do what he needs the kids to do? Okay, but like, why did he need Will? Did he need 12 kids back then too? At what point in Vecna's plan did he need 12 kids? No, because he was weak? Now? But why not before? What changed? It's a retcon, who cares? Me! That's why we're watching this! Looking for intricate plots to make sense. I watch a different show. This is Gen X nostalgia of the 80s. So you missed all the long scenes where they overly explain all this BS. Will was phase 1 establish an anchor? Okay, what was phase 2? Like, what is the connection point between like what is his plan? It just seems like it's disconjointed, right? It feels like part of it is just establish anchor through Will, fine. Be mean to 11 by trying to like make her life hard by killing the people she likes. Kind of unrelated to whatever the world domination is, but like secondary goals, I guess. And then kidnap kids for something. After 18 months. Phase 2, kill people at each point to break Hawkins. But why did he only kill people that were related to the main characters? Why didn't he just kill like Rebecca from Algebra? No one cares about Rebecca from Algebra. You know what I mean? Also, why did he have to kill people in Hawkins specifically? Why didn't he just go somewhere else? You said about Phase 2 reminds me of this.
I don't get it. You see, phase 1, collect underpants. Phase 2, phase 3, profit. I get it. No, you don't, fat ass.
What is this video? Stop, please. Oh my goodness. YouTube, I watched too much about Vecna, and now it's showing me the best adult moments in cartoons. I'm not Henry, YouTube, please. We've gone too deep. 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 In Henry's memories, this implies that his parents bullied him. Yeah, but they're dead now. So, like,
during his original capture to build the tunnels that connect Hawkins to the Upside Down. And now Vecna plots to use his 12 new captured children to fully bring his world to Earth. Vecna then forces
how?
Will to help locate Max's comatose body in the hospital, sending a pack of Dimmadog.
Why? Why? You have the kids. Why is he so focused on Max? Just do your plan. He's spending so much time trying to kill these random kids who are coming after him, and he's not doing his plan. There's literally nobody at this moment who is stopping him from doing the plan. He's wasting precious, valuable time on tying up vendettas than actually doing world domination. This is Black History Month. Why isn't there a white or Hispanic History Month too? I don't know, bro. Ask Google. I mean, the series explains in Stranger Things a play on Broadway. I think you just want Vecna to win. I want him to be a good villain. That's what I want. YouTube stream is down because of NBC content violations. Is it? So I did have to go live again. Let's see. Can't even talk about freaking Stranger Things, bro. Live. Blocked. Copyright. Oh, it's freaking Saturday Night Live. Gosh darn it. You really showed Saturday Night Live? Yeah, what I showed, I literally... It's fine. It's whatever. It's whatever. And that's why people don't go live on YouTube.
To kill the defenseless girl once and for all. 11 enters Will's mind and helps him wake up, after which he frantically warns the others that Max is in danger. Lucas and Robin race to the hospital to rescue Max, where they evade the Dimmadogs, and Robin's girlfriend Vicky finally learns about all of the supernatural madness that has been occurring in Hawkins. As Robin, Vicky, Lucas, and the unconscious Max hide in the hospital's basement, the injured Karen Wheeler uses oxygen tanks to blow up the Dimmadogs and save the day. In Henry's mind state,
how does she do that?
Max and Holly find a tunnel and discover a memory of Henry when he was a young boy. He had stumbled upon an injured stranger, but when trying to help, the man fearfully shot him. In retaliation, Henry brutally murdered the man and stole his mysterious briefcase. Before learning what was inside the briefcase, Max and Holly continue their escape. Max realizes that her means to escape is not her favorite song, but her connection to Lucas, who has never given up on her. Max encourages Holly to use her connection to her own
Okay. Take this madness somewhere else, chatter. Please. We're talking about Stranger Things right now. We're watching Drew Gooden. We're watching this to get context for what Drew Gooden was talking about.
Strength to escape Vecna's mindscape, promises to lead the others in rescuing her, then bids the young girl farewell as she finally wakes up in the real world.
Wait, why did Holly not go?
Then strength to escape her given up on her. Max encourages Holly to use her connection to her own inner strength to escape Vecna's mindscape, promises to lead the others in rescuing her.
Wait, why can't Holly just go with her? Why can't Holly just jump through the portal with her? Was that a third type of portal? So you have the Demogorgon portal that people can go in and out of. You have the Henry holes that are permanent, and then you have like personal connection portals that only you can go through. I think that was a mental portal because remember she's a mental projection, but she could interact with the same way that Holly can interact with. Max and Holly were put in two different places, but how were they interacting? I'm so confused.
Then bids the young girl farewell as she finally wakes up.
Oh,
in the
okay.
world.
So was okay. Max was astral projected into the Upside Down from Earth. Holly was astral projected into the Upside Down from the Abyss, right? They were both astral projecting into the same place, but they weren't actually physically in the same place. Vecna's mind, but yes. Same difference. Vecna's mind, okay. Okay. That makes sense. Thought Upside Down is Vecna's mind. Okay, I'm sorry. It's the secret third dimension, chat. I'm sorry I didn't get my dimensions correct. Now, why were they trapped in Vecna's mind? Who knows? It doesn't matter. We're moving on.
And emotionally reunites with Lucas. With everyone reunited once again,
The third dimension is the
Hopper,
Abyss?
Joyce 11, Kali,
No, well, okay, technically, I wasn't thinking of the Earth as a dimension. It is a fourth dimension, okay? Gosh darn it. You're not even getting semantics on what number dimension it is. It is a different dimension than the dimension that we were just talking about.
Mike, Dustin, Lucas, Will, Jonathan, Nancy, Steve,
Stop.
Robin,
You're gonna give me an aneurysm, bro. You are going to give me an aneurysm. That is already too many names. Okay. Please. Let's start again and let's go slowly.
emotionally reunites with Lucas. With everyone reunited once again, Hopper, Joyce 11,
Hopper, former police officer person. Joyce is Will's mother. 11's 11. Kali is 11's sister, who has superpowers, who dies later on. Mike is the Wheeler kid, best friend to Will, who's not married, dating 11. Dustin is the guy with the mullet who loved Eddie, and Eddie's dead now. Rest in peace, Eddie. And then you have Lucas, who's a black guy. Will, who disappeared. Jonathan, who is Mike's brother.
Kali, Mike, Dustin, Lucas, Will, Jonathan, Nancy, Steve.
Nancy dated Jonathan, and Nancy is Mike's sister, but they broke up because they weren't right for each other. Steve is Nancy's ex-boyfriend. Robin is the lesbian that Steve liked before finding out she was a lesbian. Who's Murray? Murray is the comedian slash conspiracy theorist slash journalist person. Erica is... I have no freaking idea. Who's Erica? Oh yeah, the sassy capitalist black girl. Thank you. The sassy capitalist black girl. And who else? I don't know who newly recruited science teacher, Miss Clark.
Robin, Murray, Erica, and even the kids' newly recruited science teacher, Mr. Clark, gathered together to formulate a plan to rescue Polly and defeat.
That's everybody. Cheese Louise, that's too many people. Where's the Hispanic dude? Argyle? Where did Argyle go? He got ignored. Argyle didn't return this season. They left him behind. So someone in the desert, probably back in Cali. He left too much diversity. True. I can't believe you got all that. See, I pay attention. I basically have already watched the show.
meet Vecna once and for all. Dustin uses Dr. Brenner's notes to reveal that Vecna's lair exists in a sky realm dubbed the Abyss, and the Upside Down was inadvertently created as a wormhole bridge connecting the Abyss to the real world when 11 was first experimented on. Vecna now plans to use his kidnapped children to merge these two worlds into one, where he can connect everything to his will.
Sure. If I were to give you all of that, why does he need 12 kids to do it? What is it? Where did you get the 12 kids from? What is that about? Oh yeah, that's cause clocks. You're right. Cause clocks. Cause he likes clocks, I guess. 12 is more than 11. Honestly, legitimately, that is a better explanation. That is a better explanation than cause he likes clocks. Yes, it's his battle versus 11, and he needs 12 kids to combat 11. Right? And then you had 11 plus 8 because you had Kali, who was 8, and that was 19. So he needed to kill Kali because Kali was there, and he needed to get her out of the picture so that his 12 kids can beat only 11. But then what is Will? Because Will will be like what, 12? Because Will would be number 12. He needed a 12 kids, right? He needed 12 kids because Will is number 12 because he's the 12th person with powers, technically. I think. I have no idea. We're making things up at this point. We are completely making things up at this point. Just killed me the scene for Portals.
Listen, you can't go with me. That's my body. You'll have to find yours. But Max, how can I do that? Just believe. I do believe. It's working. That's, okay, well, better get. I don't think I want to go there. Holly, you have to. You can't stay with Vecna. Well, that's easy for you to say when you're running back to getting a back massage. Listen, I'm sure yours isn't as bad as it seems. I just think it's funny that... Listen, you can't go with me. That's my body.
That's right.
You have to find yours.
Yeah, apparently there was a scene in the recap that like Vecna had his freaking tentacles in the mouth of freaking kids for some reason. Again, what is happening with this guy?
Lucas realizes the date is November 6th, the anniversary of Will's original disappearance, and deduces that Vecna will enact his plan that very night. As everyone...
Why? Is Vecna sentimental? Did he have all the pieces on November 5th and was like, what if I wait till tomorrow? That'd be kind of funny. He's like, you know, I mean, I'm ready. I'm ready to go, but like, I kidnapped him on the 6th. And if I do this on the 6th, it would be so funny if I pull it off. Like this kind of serial killer coded, so it doesn't make sense that he loves symbols and being sentimental. But then, like, why did he kidnap the kids when he did? Why didn't he just kidnap them on the 6th? Oh, excuse me. You know what I mean? And why does he need 12? I'm sorry. I still don't get that.
When argues over the best course of action, Steve steps up with the perfect plan, allowing the Abyss to lower toward the Earth, waiting until it is close enough to use the radio tower in the Upside Down to breach Vecna's lair and save Hop.
Wait, how do they know that the Abyss has to be lowered towards the Earth? How do they know it just doesn't happen instantaneously? Vecna snaps his fingers and it just, pow, it happens. Doesn't figure it out with science. Okay, how does anybody know this? How did Dr. Brenner know this? Are you not seeing the Slinky? Some formulas? Yeah, he knew. He did his research. He found out that if Vecna had exactly 12 kids, no more, no less, and exactly on November 6th, years later, after he kidnapped the kid on November 6th, years prior, then he can then lower the Abyss using the Upside Down that was created by 11 to the Earth, right? At a measurable timetable somehow. And it wouldn't just be instant. I guess
As the heroes make their escape, they will drop a bomb into the energy sphere at Hawkins' lab, destroying the Upside Down for good, making it impossible for.
Well, how do they know that would do that? I mean, wait, no, okay, I take that back. They do know that because they shot at it. Nancy shot at it and then almost killed 11, Kali, and Hopper. So they do know that. Sure, I guess.
The Abyss to ever reach Earth again. As everyone prepares for their final battle, Will comes out as gay to the group, who embrace him with love and support. Before departing, Kali reveals to 11 that Dr. K had attempted to use her blood to birth new superpowered children, similar to Henry and 11, though her experiments all failed. Dr. K is continuing the work of the late Brenner, and even if K is defeated, another scientist will simply take her place, meaning 11 and Kali will never be safe. To prevent further superpowered children from being created and experimented on, Kali insists that she and 11 sacrifice themselves in the destruction of the Upside Down. As the final battle begins, Erica and Mr. Clark aid the others as they storm the military compound to enter the portal to the Upside Down. Nancy, Jonathan, Steve, Robin, Joyce,
Wait, I thought the
Will,
military
Mike,
closed that
Dustin,
portal.
and Lucas all
Because
race
that was
to
gay because Vecna says he's going to use Will's secret against him to make his family and friends hate him. Dang, Vecna's a homophobe. They can't? They can't? It's open on Tuesdays? I'm pretty sure it was closed in season 2 or something. And why is that one special? That was the first portal that was opened by 11? So that one can just never be closed? That was closed this season? Was it?
the radio tower, which they used to climb into the abyss in preparation of rescuing Holly and the other children. Upon their escape from the abyss, Dustin and Lucas all race to the radio tower, which they used to climb into the abyss in preparation of rescuing Holly and the other children. Upon their escape from Henry's mind. Meanwhile, Murray plants the explosives at Hawkins' lab while Hopper monitors 11 and Kali, who pull the mind of Max in the real world to act as their guide through the memories of Henry Creel. Eventually, they reach the children, though in their escape, Vecna appears to Hopper, informing him of 11's plan to sacrifice herself and tricking him into pulling his adopted daughter and her allies out of Henry's memories, leaving Holly to lead the other children into the caves and away from Vecna's grasp. Dr. K sends her forces led by Akers.
Okay, how are they gonna get out?
Upside Down to confront Eleven, and though she manages to kill off all of the soldiers, her sister Kali is unfortunately mortally wounded in the crossfire. In the Abyss, Will taps into Vecna's mind and discovers that when the young Henry Creel came across the stranger in the cave, his briefcase actually contained a fragment of the Mind Flayer, which infected the young boy and gave him his powers. Will tries to appeal to Henry to turn away from evil, but instead the villain reveals his intention to remain connected to the Mind Flayer and take over the Earth. Vecna's lair is in fact the Mind Flayer itself, which reanimates to attack everyone in the Abyss. Back in the Upside Down, Hopper encourages Eleven to believe in not only herself, but at her chance for a better life, one day raising a daughter of her own to live a better life than she ever had. The father and daughter then bid each other an emotional farewell as Eleven enters the Abyss for one final fight against Vecna.
How does she get
As
there?
Eleven engages the villain in battle, Nancy, Jonathan, Robin, Steve, Mike, Dustin, and Lucas all band together to fight the Mind Flayer. But just as the group are overpowered and all hope seems lost, Will uses his connection to Vecna to overpower him, allowing Eleven to impale Henry Creel and the others to bring down the Mind Flayer once and for all. Nancy then leads her allies in rescuing Holly and the other children, while Joyce cuts off the head of Vecna, ensuring he will never rise again. As the group activates the bombs and triumphantly depart the Upside Down, they are confronted by Dr. K and her remaining forces. Realizing she will never be truly free, Eleven decides to stay behind in the Upside Down as it is fully destroyed, all while her heartbroken friends and family watch helplessly. 18 months later, Hawkins has been rebuilt and everyone is attempting to move on with their lives. Jonathan and Robin are now in college out of state.
Okay. So does the Abyss have like nothing in it? Yes. Then why does it exist? The absence of matter? No, it has matter. The rocks are there. There's rocks and there's sand and there's dust. Like, but there's no life, like at all. Where did the Demogorgons come from? From where, Chet? The Abyss? That y'all just told me that had no life? Not there in the end, though. The Demogorgons, the Bats, the Vines, the Mind Flayer are all native to the Abyss. Then where are they? They might have came from the Upside Down, to be honest. That makes more sense. The Abyss has no life because the Mind Flayer consumed it all. Okay, what is the Mind Flayer? Also, don't send me a Forgotten Realms wiki link. It's obviously not following D&D lore. This is like a completely separate thing. That thing is very obviously not a Mind Flayer. They specifically say they come from the Abyss, but they don't include in the final scene because their word audience had demo fatigue. Show something cool then, right? Don't show a Demogorgon or a Demodog. Show a Demodragon. You know, show a Demodevil. Show a Demorhino or something. You know what I mean? Bring the bats back. Show a Demodome. A Demogorilla. Yeah, show something. Show us something. You don't have to like show the same thing you've been showing for the last 5 years. Try to explain the Abyss with D&D in the show, but it doesn't sound like it's the same thing as the D&D Abyss. D&D Abyss is a different thing that has life in it and demons and such. They confirmed that they would explain it if they get a spin-off show. Fuck them. No, you can't be like, you know what? This thing that is quintessential to this series that we've made and spent 10 years on. Yeah, you get to know about it if we get a spin-off show to talk about it. No, put it in your gosh darn show. Put it in your gosh darn show. Just have Vecna say, when I landed here in the abyss, after 11 threw me in here, I looked around and there was nothing. But there was one creature that stood the test of time. This thing here, or whatever, had consumed all life in the abyss, and it sat dormant, waiting. You know, just explain that. You feel me? Don't be like, oh, well, all these different monsters came from the abyss, and you just don't see any of them at all, ever. Maybe he does. It's not. It's just not in the recap. No, he obviously doesn't because the chat doesn't know, and the chat has seen the show. If he did explain it in the show, chat would have told me he explained it.
While Nancy is pursuing a career in journalism, and Steve happily remains in Hawkins.
Oh, okay. Also, this is a question. Was it explained how the guy that Vecna killed or Henry killed even got the stone in the first place? How did a piece of the Mind Flayer that is from a different dimension even arrive on Earth with no upside down to be the portal? Wasn't explained? He does explain it? No, he does not? 11 was the first person to connect the two dimensions? Yeah. But like Henry got powers from the stone. And everybody else got powers from Henry. But where did the stone come from? The stone was explained in a play called The First Shadow. I'm not watching a stage play about this. I'm sorry. It's not happening. So I guess we never know.
Coach and sex ed teacher. But the four friends vow that despite their diverging paths, they will always make an effort to remain in each other's lives. Hopper proposes to Joyce, and together the fiancés make plans to move to Montauk, where the beach locale will be a nice change of pace from the memories of Hawkins.
So when and how did Eleven make a
Dustin,
whole
Lucas,
Warren
Will, and
dimension?
Max graduate
By throwing Henry through that to the abyss. Right? She was like, whoosh. And Henry was like, psh. And he like, as he flew from Earth to the abyss, it created this little wormhole thing, right? Like a Chinese finger trap where you can easily push your fingers in, but when you pull your fingers apart, you get stuck in that in-between space. That in-between space is the upside down dimension, right? And in order to free yourselves, you have to push your fingers together again and then twist and then pull. So your fingers come out and come apart. That's what Henry was trying to do. We're trying to connect the upside down, the abyss with Earth. Now the question is, why would connecting the abyss with Earth give Henry unilateral, unimaginable power? Was that explained? It's a slinky, not a finger trap. My analogy is better. Space energy, minds. Clocks. He wants to collide the two worlds because evil. But apparently it'll also make him powerful so he can do stuff, I guess. He can have all that power in the world, in the abyss, but there's no one in the abyss to rule over because everything is gone now. Yeah, but he died in the abyss. So he obviously doesn't have unilateral, unimaginable power. But because he was killed pretty easily. You had like a 5-second fight scene between him and 11, and Will jumps in, cracks his leg, and he dies. So like he has like pretty much no power. So like what would he do on Earth? Are we talking about Stranger Things? 'Cause I wanna know. I wanna learn. I will say I like their graduation caps. This is my favorite color.
High school together, cheered on by their family and friends. Dustin heads off to excel in college but remains close to his hometown friends. Lucas and Max continue to date. Will moves to New York City where he is finally free to openly express himself and his sexuality. And Mike pursues a career in writing, inspired by his childhood adventures. Mike then reveals
He writes
his theory
Stranger Things.
that 11 didn't actually die, and instead was assisted by the dying Kali to cast an illusion, faking her death and ensuring Dr. K will never pursue her. 11
She can make illusions? What can she not do?
Mike and his friends believe finally found happiness, far away from the traumas of Hawkins. In the end,
Kali
Mike,
can?
Will, Dustin, Lucas, and Max play one
sure.
final game of Dungeons and Dragons together, where for the first time in years, they feel like innocent children again. As they all depart the Wheeler basement to head off into adulthood, Holly and her friends begin their own game of Dungeons and Dragons, ready for the start of a new adventure. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe.
Okay, I don't hate that like ending epilogue thing. That's outside of the whole like bait and switch of like 11's not actually dead or whatever. It's like it's fine. You see like, the characters who, you know, you've seen for the last 10 years essentially. You know, end the series where they started it. And you see the next generation also picking up where they left off. There's hella spin-offs in the work. I hope there's not. Genuinely, I hope there's not. What else can you do with this? Is there somebody else with powers out there? Like, what are we talking about? There are already 2 shows announced. For what? Are there more rocks out there? I guess that's technically a plot hole. Like, where did the rock that Henry took, where did that go? You know, maybe that can be like, it's like Jumanji. That's literally one of them. See, I'm a genius. Netflix, where's my deal at? Where's my deal at? I'm a genius. Where did it come from? Oh, we've already established that that's not being answered. Got a new showrunner right here. I'm saying that the Duffer Brothers' next Netflix deal is over. It is. They're apparently at Paramount now. Oh my goodness. In between seasons, Stranger Things Tales from 85 will be released on Netflix this year. An animated series that follows the Hawkins group on an adventure set between season 2 and 3 of the main show. Anyway, let's get back to how we started watching this, which is this one.
That Hopper joins.
We're not watching this one. Let's finally get back to let's watch. Okay, having all of that information now, let's get back to the Drew Gooden video. Now that we have the full context and I've basically seen the show, let's see what's happening here. You okay, Nixie?
Of New Year's Eve.
That's fine. It's not like I had plans or anything.
I don't know why I said it like that. It was fine and I didn't have plans. Here's everything that pissed me off in the finale. 1, the long ass cut to black when Steve fell. Oh no! Oh, thank God. They caught him. This was the most SpongeBob roller coaster ass moment of the entire show. I did not think for 1 second that Steve was gonna die here because nobody with significant screen time ever dies in this show. They didn't even kill off one of the Wheeler parents who got brutally attacked by monsters.
Everyone will die.
It's gonna be okay.
Or Murray, who has no personality and speaks only in quips.
You get too loud in the sack, she shush you?
If he died in some embarrassing and hilarious way, everyone would have given you a standing ovation. But they didn't even have the balls to do that. So I'm supposed to think that we're gonna come back from this blackout with fan favorite Steve Harrington
But
just
they killed Collie.
dead on the ground? No. This is the cinematic equivalent of playing peekaboo. You're treating me like a baby.
The idea of him saving Steve, this is gonna really mess with people.
Unfortunately, one person that does die is Kali. Rest in peace. Not that this contradicts my point at all, because I'm pretty sure she was on screen for a total of like 10 minutes the entire series. She was in one episode 8 years ago, and they brought her back just to kill her. This was played like it's supposed to be this really emotional moment, but I'm sorry, I don't care about this character. She's not part of the show. It actually makes me kind of mad because the Duffers clearly are trying to have their cake and eat it too. They want us to be sad when they kill someone, but they don't want to kill anyone who would actually make us sad. And even if they do, they'll follow it up with, or maybe we didn't. Guys, please don't be mad at us. The one cool moment that actually shocked me in this finale was when Vecna tricks Hopper into shooting Elle. And for a few seconds, we think something terrible just happened. It's so jarring and unexpected and serves as this temporary reminder of how powerful the villain is supposed to be. But nothing really comes out of this.
Was Collie in like a sensory deprivation bath as well in this moment? Like, was she in a tank as well? Or is it just for Elle? No? Okay, well why doesn't she need one? Because Collie was mind jumping into 11? That doesn't really answer my question. It will be explained in an animated spin-off. She had one on the 5th. She picked it back off of Elle. Elle can bring people with her. This is also explained. It's in the stage play. Okay, sure.
Sure, it throws a little bit of a wrench in their plan, but they figure everything out anyway.
This is gonna really mess with people.
Really, this just feels like a big missed opportunity. Why wasn't Vecna doing shit like this the whole season? This guy can give people vivid hallucinations. He could have spent the past few months slowly eroding everybody's trust, making them question what's real.
Nah, he was just kind of chilling. What he was doing this entire season? No idea. No idea. Oh no, I know what he was doing. He was waiting for November 6th to come. That's it. He wanted the kids. He got the kids. He had the kids for like a week. He was chilling with the kids, bro. He was waiting until November 6th, essentially.
Even to the point that they start turning on each other. Think of how much more tension that could have added, how much more formidable it would have made your main villain. Instead, he spent the whole season...
Why does November 6th on Earth matter to the Abyss? It doesn't. It's just when Vecna kidnapped Will like 2 years prior. That's it. That's only significance. 2 years prior, Vecna kidnapped Will. Not even 2 years. How many years? I don't freaking know. They grew like 10 years since season 1, but I don't know how old they're supposed to be. 3 years? Yeah, sure. They just say Lucas has 100 to be on the anniversary. Yeah, but like, that's kind of meaningless. You know what I mean? 4 years, never mind. Okay, well, 4 years. It was a 4-year anniversary. Because there's no reason why he would have waited. I guess maybe the writer thought it would be clever if it happened on the same day. That's kind of it. That's the only real explanation. It's either Vecna is sentimental and he wanted to wait till the anniversary to do it because he's like, oh, this was my day it all started. Right? That. Or, more likely, the writers are like, oh, why don't we just have it on the same day? Because it'll be funny. Henry's a very, clearly a very particular kind of person. He has a style and a way of doing things. Yeah, but you can't just say that. You have to, like, demonstrate that. You know what I mean? Like, did Vecna at any point clearly care about, like, the date that he killed or kidnapped Will? Like, is that show a calendar that he has a date circled or something? You know what I mean? Something like that, right? I'm not saying you have to literally, like, spell it out and be like, Vecna being like, oh, I'm gonna do this on the 4-year anniversary when I kidnapped that kid or whatever. Just be like, you know, show a calendar where he has it circled in his childhood home or something, right? That he looked forward to this day, right? Make it a part of his plan originally, not just like happenstance. Something about him being sentimental is fan lore not in the show.
Running a daycare. We spent more time watching him intimidate a bunch of random kids that we don't know than we did watching the relationships of the core characters actually get developed in a meaningful way. Anyway, eventually the gang moves from one blue screen to another, only this one looks worse. And we get to see them walk and talk, and they walk and they talk. And now, it's finally time for the ultimate battle. 10 years of Stranger Things has led to this moment. A climactic showdown between our scrappy group of teenagers and Winona Ryder versus one of the most dangerous and evil freaks the world has ever known, taking the form of the Mind Flayer, 100-foot tall beast with sprawling tentacle arms. They killed him. They just jumped inside and chopped him up. The final battle was so quick and easy and so early into the runtime of the episode that I thought surely the other shoe is about to drop. It's classic misdirection. You think you beat the boss, only to realize there's actually a second phase and you already set down your controller. But
I mean, him picking on Will in the show, I think it was to torture Will. Yeah, but that's not explained. You know what I mean? Like, does picking the day he kidnapped Will to enact his plan hurt Will? Do we see Will harmed by that? Does Will grapple with, like, the fact that Vecna is toying with him by picking this day? Because if not, then it's not explained. He just wanted to do it on November 6th just cause. For vibes, I guess. Or it's a complete coincidence and it's happenstance. But if that's the case, then why have Lucas be like, I don't know, for some reason I feel like it's gonna be this day. Did you watch this show? Or are you watching it via this recap, Timmy? I would never watch a show via this recap and craft my entire opinion on it from this recap specifically. I did it from this recap. This one was at least for 40 minutes. So I have a little bit of knowledge about it. It all has a 365 Earth Day cooldown. See, that would actually make more sense. It still makes little sense, but I would rather like have that as the explanation.
no, that was it. No Demogorgons to deal with, no Demodogs, Demobats, not even like a Democockroach.
I am pontificating
Nothing.
On,
A group of
pontificating
16
on the motivations of characters. And honestly, my pontifications are correct. I'm right to ask these questions.
year-olds with a spear and a flare gun took down Satan himself without even getting a scratch. Dustin has a bigger scar from getting punched by another teenager than any of these people do from fighting this. You know this saying about how if you want to boil a frog, you have to like slowly turn the temperature of the water up to keep him from jumping out? Kind of a weird way to describe that specific phenomenon, but almost exactly how I felt watching Stranger Things in this moment. I don't think it truly set in how far we strayed from where we started until the water was already 200 degrees and my little frog ass was getting boiled. But if you showed me
I
this
hate
clip,
when people with telekinesis just throw people around. We've seen Henry kill people with his telekinesis in seconds before. We see Will using the powers that he got from Henry do it to Vecna himself. Why is he grab, slam, grab, throw, grab, slam? Just pick her up and crack her neck, bro. Why is he going Piccolo on him? Just stretching and stretching and stretching, trying to punch her. You have telekinesis. Yeah, Will breaks Vecna's arm off in the recap that you watched. Yes. He broke Vecna's leg earlier. So like, or grab her because you're stronger than she is, obviously, and impale her on any one of the spikes around you that you get impaled on later on.
200 degrees and my little frog ass was getting boiled. But if you showed me this clip in 2016, right after I finished watching the first season, I would be like, what the fuck? I just
also, my
finished
biggest
watching
beef
this small
from this show that I literally have not seen anything of is that like D&D, right? Or unlike D&D, you just have one or two characters get unimaginably powerful and no other characters get anything. You know? Like you have Will and you have 11 who hit level 20 fighting against like the big bad. And then you have two level 3 characters running around. They're like, yeah, guys, level 1 magic missile. And then you have freaking like Will casting Wish. And you have like 11 casting Power Word Kill. And you're like, Hail of Thorns. Yeah, we did it, guys. I cast Catapult. That's just all they're doing. It's just like, I feel like there's some uneven power dynamics here. Like, uneven power dynamics here. Okay, other friends accounts who haven't logged on in years, yeah. Like, I'm not saying that they all have to have superpowers or something. You know what I mean? But like, at least show them doing a little bit of damage, you know? Like you have freaking Lucas who shot a slingshot, bro. A slingshot at a dog. He's throwing rocks at a Tarrasque. That's the equivalent here for D&D. If you know D&D, you're throwing rocks at a Tarrasque. It says that I had gasoline again. Yeah, against a Tarrasque. This is an eldritch being that's been alive in the abyss for millions of years. And they burnt him. They don't like heat. Again, this is an eldritch being. It's not much. I'm saying no one should die, but it's a big critique of mine. I'm just explaining that why did they hit the boring tropes they did of never killing?
small town sci-fi mystery noir.
Like, this is the problem. You have a 5-season long villain that you built up to being omega powerful. You can't have them being beaten by fodder. You can't. You can't. You know? Like in Endgame, for example. In Endgame, Thanos was beaten by a Infinity Gauntlet snap. You feel me? Imagine if in Endgame, Thanos, gets to the final fight. Thanos wasn't being, fought by Thor and the Hulk and the Hulkbuster and Hulk was probably in the Hulkbuster at this point. And Iron Man and Captain America, wielding Mjolnir. Like, no, he was beaten by freaking I don't know, Black Widow, but she was dead at this point. She was beaten by, I don't know, freaking Falcon, And that was kind of it. Happy Hogan, who threw a soda can at him. It's like, oh, soda cans, my one weakness. No. You know what I mean? Be my Peter friend. Yeah, Ned Leeds. Ned rocked up. He threw a rock at him. He's like, ow, oh no. Small rocks, my one weakness. And he dies. People be like, oh, I think that's kind of anticlimactic. That sucks. He was built up to be this huge villain and he was beaten by a rock. That kind of sucks. You know what I mean? That's kind of like what this is, or what it feels like from what I've seen. Like, give them something. Like, give them, I don't know, have them harness the power of the Upside Down to create, weapons they take into the abyss to actually do some damage or whatever. Like, instead of like, yeah, this is a flare gun and they don't like fire because of reasons, I guess.
Scene from Avengers Endgame. And you'd be like, wait, how do you know what Avengers Endgame looks like? That's not coming out for another 3 years. And I'd be like, I don't know. The trajectory this show went on is baffling. The dialogue got dumbed down to appeal to a younger audience, even though, in theory, the audience should have just gotten older. Because that's how time works.
like a
And for a
capitalist
series
every
that was
single
filled
day.
with so
I
many
live
cool
as a
elements of
gay.
sci-fi and horror to all culminate
I just can't
in
get
this
even 30.
ugly green screen action sequence where one character does
How
a
dare you
the intricate black art of tying and wearing a do-rag to the alphabet villain named Hassan Piker. You are the
Alphabet villain.
blasphemous traitor of Black History Month. Reconsider your treacherous actions and repent. Weird champ.
True.
big jump is such a letdown. Because of how lackluster this all was, and because we were still like halfway through the episode, I thought, surely there's going to be something more. My anticipation slowly grew into disappointment as I realized
Bro, do they only know how to count in 18-month increments? Do they only know how to count in 18-month increments? This is the second time. It's also weirdly specific. Why 18 months specifically? I mean, I guess.
Runtime remaining was just a gratuitously long epilogue, filled to the brim with what this season did best. Characters in a circle talking about the things they're going to do.
Thank you.
After all this time, years of investment into the show, and the final word of legible dialogue is fart. No, this can't be right. I don't believe it.
What about all the clues?
The set pieces, they were the wrong color. The song at the end has only been used when something on the show isn't real. Steve wouldn't coach baseball. He was on the basketball team. And what about the clocks? And all of those weird Will lines where he would insist on being cold and he would get facts about his memories mixed up. He must be under Vecna's control. Maybe we're under Vecna's control.
And there's a secret 9th episode dropping tonight. If you type secret ending into Netflix, it takes you right to Stranger Things. The Morse code literally translates to "You did not stop me."
The Duffer Brothers wear two very particular t-shirts.
Right after Steve falls, the screen goes black for 7 seconds.
Why did Netflix release a trailer?
Their graduation colors are orange.
And why are they selling a flashlight?
Did we just predict the biggest plot twist in television history?
What does the 7 seconds have to do with this? What is conformity gate? What does that mean?
Right, this finale was fake. They made the whole season bad on purpose to get us to let our guard down. But the real 9th episode is coming out on January 7th. January 18th. Sorry, what I meant was during the Super Bowl halftime show.
His face goes dark at 8. Super Bowl halftime starts at 8 o'clock. We're gonna see the real ending.
So this is on Backlit, which is like a casting website. The ability to wear a costume that fully covers the body. My brain went right to Demogorgons.
You know, at first I watched that and I was like, does she think the only full body costume on Earth is Demogorgons? That there's not a single other character
I love Stranger Things for this one reason and one reason only. It's just Harry Potter. It's just Harry Potter all over again. The same thing. The same thing. You're telling me that, like, this person, right? This lady, 5 years ago, 8 years ago, was not talking about how her Harry Potter house was a Hufflepuff or whatever, and how she did a fake sorting for her 12th birthday, and how like she shifted into realities where she was in love with Draco Malfoy. Like she 100% did. 100%. They got someone is covering the real news these days. Exactly.
To wear a costume that fully covers the body. My brain went right to Demogorgons.
You know, at first I watched that and I was like, does she think the only full body costume on Earth is Demogorgons? That there's not a single other character they could possibly be dressing up as? But then I went back and watched the show and I noticed something. Hidden in the background of just one frame for a mere moment is a Rocket Money logo. And that can only mean one thing.
It's an ad.
For premium. Thank you to Rocket Money for sponsoring this video. Honestly, I have to hand it to some of these TikTok even more features.
This is his code. I'll leave it on screen for 2 seconds. Awesome.
When you sign up for premium. Thank you to Rocket Money for sponsoring this video. Honestly, I have to hand it to some of these TikTok editors. These videos are so well put together. For about a day and a half, I was fully on board. I don't want it to seem like I'm making fun of these people because really they were just disappointed in a thing that they love and they were still in the early stages of denial about it. If you go back throughout the show, there's so many lines and visuals that seemed to be foreshadowing something. That's why people had such high expectations. Not because they're delusional, but because they thought that all the time they spent paying close attention and analyzing every little detail would be rewarded at the end. But once the time passed and it became clear that episode 8 was in fact the true finale, all of these secret hints that everyone hyper-focused on turned back into what they always were. Bad writing and production errors. And all of that charged up excitement and anticipation turned into rage. Fuck the Duffer Brothers. These guys aren't playing 4D chess. They probably don't even know how to play checkers. It was so interesting to watch all of this unfold because at its core, Conformity Gate was
fair,
not...
I don't think it was as bad as people said. It wasn't good, for sure. I've seen worse. I've seen worse bad shows. You didn't watch it? I've seen enough. I've seen enough. You haven't seen it? I've seen enough. You did not watch it? I watched enough. I watched a whole 40-minute recap. It's because you went genuinely awful? Maybe. I've seen worse. If you've ever seen Jupiter's Rising, I think that's what it's called. Freaking, that's the worst show I've ever seen in my life. And I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. That is literally the worst show I have ever seen in my entire life. That's a movie. It is a show. And it is the worst show I've ever seen in my life. Let's see if we can find what it's called. Let's see. No, sorry. Jupiter's Legacy. It's called Jupiter's Legacy. It is literally the worst show I've ever seen in my entire life. This show. It's so bad, bro. It's so bad. It's genuinely garbage. I don't know how it pulled off a 6.7 star review because it deserves literally 1 star. The pacing's bad. The story's bad. It's really bad. That's my next show we're talking about on stream. It's so bad. Well, let's continue with this. What did you say? 0 stars.
That different than a lot of other conspiracy theories, almost all of which are simply born out of dissatisfaction with a given answer. I'm probably paraphrasing that ContraPoints video here, but as human beings, we don't like randomness. We would rather ascribe intentionality to something than accept that the world we live in is just full of chaos. It's scary to think that a random person could assassinate a president, so there has to be more to the story. The show I've loved
I also watched, I'm watching a show called 11/22/63. I didn't finish it yet though, so no spoilers. So that show's, it's okay. It started off relatively interesting, but it's kind of fell into like a little bit of monotony. Oh.
For half my life can't have a bad ending. There has to be more to the story. But sometimes there isn't. Will saying he misses drinking milkshakes at Melvald's, even though they don't sell milkshakes, is not some 200 IQ misdirect. It was just a writing mistake. The color of this dial changing from gray to red was not an Easter egg for the audience to pick up on. It was just a continuity error. Maybe they shot it one way and then decided that red would pop better on camera and assumed nobody would care enough to make a viral TikTok about it. Regardless, the obsessive nature of Conformity Gate and the collective anger that ensued when these admittedly cool fan theories turned out to be fake almost definitely would not have happened if the finale was just good. If this final episode wasn't so underwhelming, it wouldn't have given millions of fans the motivation to go digging for clues. So while I'm sure the Duffer Brothers never expected all of this to happen, it is still kind of their fault. And now they'd have to deal with the consequences. So then comes time for the press tour, where Matt and Ross would go from podcast to interview to television appearance, addressing everyone's burning questions with answers like, "We don't know. We never thought about it like that." And if that did happen, with answers like, "We don't know. We never thought about it."
Ross Duffer says his Dungeons and Dragons knowledge is embarrassingly low for how important it is in Stranger Things. They cheated D&D progression a bit by jumping to Vecna as the show's main villain. Matt Duffer played Baldur's Gate 3 and it inspired his final idea for the entire group working together to defeat Vecna. It wasn't actually supposed to be a big part of the show. The kids needed a reference point and it became increasingly important. Yeah, this is why oftentimes it felt like they didn't know what they were talking about.
About it like that. And
why none of it made any sense.
Did happen, it happened off screen. Every day for about 3 weeks, I would wake up and see some new quote from the Duffer Brothers that
Wait,
had
hold on, sorry, I saw the rock, Stop. The Duffer Brothers say the rock in the briefcase was essential to the spinoffs. The spinoff is gonna delve into that and explain that, so you're not gonna understand it. So you're gonna understand it. I can't read. But it's a completely different mythology. What do you mean? It's a core part of the show, so it's not a deep exploration of the Mind Flayer or anything. What? What? Is it not a core feature of the show? It's a piece of the Mind Flayer that gave Henry his powers. The Mind Flayer that it comes back in the final season. And is the main boss fight of the final episode. But it's a completely different mythology? The theory that the ex-wife is one of the Duffers of the Red Rider all along. Sure.
Some new quote from the Duffer Brothers that had absolutely no substance. What is even the point of doing all these interviews if you're not going to say anything?
Oh, what happened to Robin and Vicky?
I don't. God, certain things are open to interpretation. I don't know. I truly don't know.
Make a decision on the spot. Oh, they ended up together. After all was said and done, Robin went back to the hospital. She was like, "Vicky, I love you. Will you marry me?" And Vicky was like, "Yes." And then they ran off in the sunset or something. You know, make it up. It's your show. Robin broke up with Vicky though? Yeah, but just make them get back together. Or just say they don't get back together. They move on with their lives. It's your show. You made it up. It came together in your head, allegedly. They can't because that would kill fan headcanon. Who cares? Them not making decisions is what made the show poor in its reception in the first place. You're going to make people mad. Netflix cares? Not really. The show's over. Netflix is not stipulating that they can't say who, if Robin and Vicky got together or not. I do not believe Netflix was like, sorry, in your contract it says you cannot confirm what happened with Robin and Vicky's relationship. It's more likely they just don't know. It's more likely that they genuinely don't know and they are too lazy to make it up. So they're just like, who knows? Why are writers writing to headcanon? There are deliberately ambiguous endings for the characters' romantic lives. Not really, for what I've seen. 11's dead. Dead, not dead, but they're not. She's not with Will. I mean, with Mike. Will and Mike aren't together. Max and Lucas are together. Hopper and Joyce got married. You know what I mean? Those are pretty. You didn't watch the show? Am I incorrect? Are those not conclusive endings to the romance? Those readings are pretty conclusive to me. The characters are either dead or not together. Think about the older 4 characters. See, that's not what you said, though. You've moved the goalpost. That's what the video is talking about right now. I said the relationships are conclusive from what I've seen. And you were like, no, they're not. And I made my arguments. And you said, well, not those. Wasn't talked about where Vicky and Dustin's relationship. So you moved the goalpost? No, I didn't move the goalpost for the video. That's not the case. You claimed the show left relationships open-ended because it would mess with headcanon. And I said, that's not the case. They very clearly classified a lot of relationships. And then you were like, well, not those relationships. So you moved the goalpost because you made the original claim the show left relationships open-ended. So I'm correct and you're wrong. Confirmed.
I don't know what happened to them. Ross and I know. I don't know. No, for sure. I don't know. We just don't know.
And to be fair, not every question demands an answer. You should certainly be allowed to let your art speak for itself and leave some ambiguity in the things that you create. But some of these questions do raise some pretty good points. Like, I thought it was weird that after blowing up the portal to the Upside Down, the military seemed to just go away. Like, sure, they're not chasing 11 anymore, but the rest
I don't really know
of
much about that because I didn't watch the show.
The kids did kill a bunch of them. So I think this is a perfectly fair question for an interviewer to ask. Here's Ross's answer. My guess is they just sort of left. Your guess? Brother, you wrote the show. Hey, what happened to Murray? I don't know. And why did Vecna need exactly 12 kids?
Wait, this is it.
To Murray? I don't know.
I care about Murray.
Why did
laughs? It's no specific reason other than that he realized how much power he could exert from Will, and to do something of this scale of move a planet. I don't know how we did that math. So it was just vibes. It was just vibes. I don't know what clocks had to do with this, but it was just vibes. So 100% because 11 is more than 12. Also, I love that it comes to the calculation that 12 kids is the cost of moving a planet, I guess. Also, why do they need to be kids specifically? Because kids are full of hope and potential and wanting of the future, and adults are jaded. He's a pedocore because they're weak-minded. Not any more weak-minded than the adults in the show. But sure. I'll let that slide because it's explained as they're weak-minded. All right. I'll let that one slide. That one at least is given an explanation that kind of works, I guess.
Vecna need exactly 12 kids. No reason.
Also, why couldn't he just take... If Vecna is all-powerful, I know that Hawkins has a lot of the paranormal activity, is like ground zero for this stuff, and it has like the original portal. Why doesn't Vecna just go to the town over? You know what I mean? Why doesn't Vecna just go an hour down the road to reach the next town and just take the 12 kids from there? Why did he take the 12 kids from Hawkins specifically? Did they need to be 12 Hawkins kids? Right? It's not like Vecna is only confined to Hawkins. There was Demogorgons in Russia. Why didn't he just have Demogorgons open portals, grab kids from Russia, and just throw them in the portal for Vecna to take? You know, one kid from 12 different towns. Yeah, one kid from like 12 different countries. What's stopping you? Why was he so focused on this small town? Maybe kids near portals are psychically juiced or something. I mean, maybe, but that wasn't really explained from the recap. They know what's stopping him. Yeah. Only Hawkins is cloned in the Upside Down, but that doesn't really matter, because like you just need the kids. You don't need the kids from Hawkins, right? And the Demogorgons exist in other places that's not Hawkins, as we saw when they were in Russia, because Hopper and Joyce killed them in Russia. So the Demogorgons do exist in other places outside of Hawkins. You could just take kids from other places outside of Hawkins. They can't just teleport back instantly. They have to go to Hawkins and teleport. Yeah, then do that. Then don't go to Russia. Go to the town across the street. Go like an hour away. Pick up a kid and then drag that kid to Hawkins and then teleport to the Upside Down. It would be easier than working within the town that is very quickly trying to thwart you. You know? It's putting all of its resources trying to thwart you. Maybe it's like, okay, well, let's not do that. It became the principle of the thing. Is that explained? Vecna should have taken 12 Russian kids? Yes, Vecna should have taken 12 Russian kids. Exactly. The Russians opened a portal in Russia. I don't even think Vecna knows about it. But when they killed the Demogorgons in Russia, it hurt Vecna. So Vecna has to be somewhat aware of it, because there's a mind link there that chat kept screaming at me about. Maybe not. But like, okay, if Vecna can tell his vines to grasp people, and then Demogorgons die, that cause his vines to release, Vecna doesn't know about it? At all? Pretty sure he's tethered to the area dictated where he's banished, using the place that 11, the research facility, as an anchor point. Sure, but how was he affecting things in freaking California? It's reflexive and not conscious. I don't know. It's not. It's terribly written. I'm just trying to come to the conclusions. Wait, hold on. I saw that when people talking online, the staff also wanted to know. Will was connected to the hive mind, but didn't feel anything when Vecna was impaled or decapitated. When the mind flayer was attacked, why not? Well, we aren't showing him. We aren't showing him when the mind flayer is being attacked. When he's getting decapitated at that point, the mind flayer is dead. So it at that point has severed the connection between him and Vecna. But why? So you're saying it could happen off screen? When the mind flayer is getting attacked, we see how much pain he's in. Obviously, even with Henry's memories, we wanted to focus on the final battle with our heroes. Okay, so they were just like, it happened off screen, and if it didn't, it wasn't a big deal for him anyway. So the mind link doesn't even matter. The mind link doesn't even matter. So the mind link only hurts Vecna. That would be a better answer. The mind link only goes one way, right? Because it only hurts Vecna. But it can't because it hurt Will when they were in the barn. Oh my goodness, bro. Oh my goodness. It's literally their answer to everything is just like, I don't know, bro. Why do you care?
How come Will didn't feel anything while the Mind Flayer was getting killed? He just wanted to focus on the
There's a whole
other
part
guy.
where he was in a coma. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah. It doesn't make sense.
Even when they did give answers, there certainly doesn't seem to be a lot of confidence in them.
A lot of people want to know about who unlocked the door in season 1, episode 1, let the Demogorgon in definitively. Say now?
This is what I know. I know this. I saw this happen. And I was wondering who unlocked the door. Right? Because guess what? Guess what happened, chat? Vecna sent a Demogorgon to kidnap Will and then teleport into the Upside Down, which they could have done to literally any child, at the very least in the surrounding area of Hawkins. You know what I mean? Which very clearly shows that they could have just sent the Demogorgons to the next town over to Hawkins, took a kid, and then teleported that to the Upside Down. And they would have had no idea what would have happened. No idea whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean that
Gorgon in definitively. Say now?
Yeah, I mean that's Vecna using his psionic abilities through the demo.
Oh, okay, yeah. I guess that makes sense. Although Vecna didn't exist yet at the time. Sure, he canonically was alive during that scene, but when they were writing it, they hadn't come up with
why is he always
alive
aura farming
that scene, but when they were writing it, they hadn't come up with him yet. So what was the justification at the time? It kind of feels like you're just retconning a mistake you made and trying to act like it was the plan all along. Which, to be honest, is not that big of a deal. I'm not gonna grill them on every little...
But you said the demos couldn't do that? What do you mean? Or you mean the Duffer Brothers? Constitution, yeah. They had constitutional rights that had to be protected.
Inconsistency from season 1 to season 5 because at the time they never expected the show to go on as long as it did. The only reason I'm annoyed about this is because they said it would be answered months ago, unprompted. They were like, in season 5,
Never said before season 5 they couldn't move things with their mind. Well, technically it wasn't them. Technically it wasn't them. It was actually Vecna going through them, using them as a proxy, as a vector. Oh. The Duffer Brothers confirmed Demogorgon is not telepathic and did not open Will's door in season 1. Someone else did. The final season will reveal who. Why would they say that? Again, like they're like, actually, technically, it was actually not the Demogorgon. It was actually Vecna using the Demogorgon as a proxy for his psionic abilities, and then he opened the door with his psionic abilities. Actually, maybe that's what they mean.
To know who opened that door. I was willing to move on from this. You're the one who brought it up. Is this what you meant, though? That question would finally be answered on a podcast? I guess I thought you meant you were going to do it in the show.
Cut me some slack.
I think generally speaking, the reason why people are so bothered by these errors, even the minor ones, is that the Duffers have spent years telling everybody to pay attention to everything. There are no such thing as coincidences. These details that seem random might not be random at all. They're actually small pieces.
That's
woven
their
into
problem. They made a show for an audience that's smarter than them. You can't have the achievement hunter sleuths, internet sleuths who are slowing down and like watching every episode of Gravity Falls, but in reverse to figure out what the mystery is. And then expect them to not do that for your show. You can't. You have the people who are like, I'm watching Pretty Little Liars to figure out who the killer actually is or what the secret is. Oh, I don't know what it is. What the secret is or whatever. Before the final episode, you can attract that demographic of people and then be like, oh, why do y'all care about like the secrets and stuff?
intricate fabric we're waiting to unveil. And then the show ended with the most cookie-cutter ending of all time. So what the hell were you talking about? Another disappointment with the overly simplistic final fight sequence is that all of these creatures that have terrorized these people the entire show, that we know live in this abyss, just completely disappeared when it came time to fight Henry. It feels like such a huge missed opportunity. So why weren't any of them there? Well, it's because Vecna wasn't ready. How was he supposed to know they were coming? It's not like he's some kind of mind reader. Oh wait, I guess he is. I'm sorry, the omnipotent, telepathic devil creature who can see into people's brains from anywhere in the world didn't know what they were up to. They spent half
But like, also, even if Vecna didn't call the creatures for the final episode, that doesn't mean they're not there. They could have just been chilling. You know what I mean? They're not walking around. It's an entire world. There's no Demogorgons just like, you know, eating rocks or whatever in the abyss. Or do they sleep? Do they sleep? Do they eat? Do they poop? What do they do? You say that they're from there, and they're just like, oh, Vecna didn't call them. Just slightly off screen for the whole final fight. Yeah. Like, or put it inside of Dr. Brenner's journal that these Demogorgons are afraid of like the Mind Flayer energy, right? And that they stay away from where the Mind Flayer is because they're afraid of it because it's the apex predator. Do something like that, you know? Explain it like that. Say like, oh, there's no Demogorgons in the final fight because they don't ever go near the Mind Flayer until, right? They're called by a Vecna to do something, right? That could work in conjunction with Vecna was caught off guard, right? So Vecna was caught off guard. He didn't call any Mind Flayers, and Mind Flayers don't necessarily stay near the, and Demogorgons don't stay near the Mind Flayer, right? Because it's the big apex predator of the abyss. Maybe that was explained. I don't know. I didn't watch it.
Season talking about their plans. You didn't want to pop into one of those
because it's February.
Those meetings and take some notes. I'm pretty sure the only time he actually used this power was to figure out where Max was. She was in the hospital, Henry. He knows where she is now. I don't think you needed telepathy to find the girl in a coma. Where the hell else would she be? I remember liking a lot of what they did with Vecna in season 4, but by the end, this became such a stupid character. He's all powerful and all knowing, and yet he got tricked by a bunch of kids.
Why can't he go into the cave? Is that explained? Just cause vibes? He just doesn't like the cave? Trauma, childhood trauma, he's scared of it? Did his dad throw him in the cave to punish him? Like what's the trauma? He's scared of the dark? That's where he killed that man? Oh! Okay, that makes a little bit of sense, I guess. Maybe. That's where the Mind Flayers possessed him? Okay. Okay, that makes a little bit of sense. I will say, how did Holly and Max find the cave in Vecna's mindscape? Just accident, maybe? I guess that could also make sense. There are bigger plot holes. I'll let that one slide. I'm willing to cede that point. That maybe she accidentally found the cave and then realized Vecna couldn't go in there and was like, this was safe. I'm willing to allow that.
Bulletproof and indestructible until he merges with the giant monster. Then you just have to jump through his neck hole and hit him with an axe. I liked this show a lot better when the antagonist was more mysterious, when the threat was a demonic alternate dimension and not just the Grinch but evil.
Elsis does not bite me in the ass.
But as bad as all those interviews were, nothing made the Duffers seem more
we've seen the final battle because like I wasn't expecting the group to show up on his home turf, which makes no sense. I mean, yeah, but like, which kind of leads to the question: what was Vecna doing? Why did he even go back to his home turf? Like, why did he go back to the Abyss to merge with the Mind Flayer in the first place? You know what I mean? If he wasn't expecting it, why did he leave the kids that he needs for his grand plan? Because he's human and we dumb. Hey, don't put that on me. Don't put that on me.
Competent than the documentary that Netflix released about season 5.
Today's a very interesting day.
We
We
are
are shooting
have
episode.
been pursuing him for weeks to just be chilling at home. But what was he doing? Because it was two phases of the plan. He went and merged with the Mind Flayer while other people were chasing him and other people were chasing the kids. So like, what was he doing? He left the kids for a reason. You know? So what was his goal? I don't know. I'm not gonna watch it, so it doesn't even really matter. You know what I mean? Let's just keep watching this.
Episode 8, which isn't completely written yet, so we don't even fully know what's going on.
We went into production without having a finished script for the finale.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. The reason
Wait, was that the room? The experimentation room?
Completely written yet, so we don't even fully know what's going on.
We went into production.
What room is this? The lab? Is Vecna homophobic because they surrounded him with rainbows? Or did they surround him with rainbows because he was homophobic? Which one was it? Because we know he's homophobic. We know he's homophobic, right? That's like a core part of his character in the show. So were they like, was he homophobic because they surrounded his room with rainbows? He was like, no, get the rainbows away from me. Or did they realize that he was homophobic and then surrounded the room with rainbows to make him mad, I guess? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Without having a finished script for the finale.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
Like, this is how we know he's homophobic. He said he would outwill to his family to make his family hate him for like no real reason at all. Like just for vibes. Like the guy sucks.
The reason everything seemed unplanned and rushed was because it was. It's so funny that they're
rainbows aren't gay rainbows, they're kid rainbows. Nah.
Man, a lot riding on this finale. We cannot fuck this up.
You see these shows that people love and the ending falters and they just discard the rest of the show. You can't leave anything dangling. You have to wrap everything up.
And then they wasted all the time they had to write the script and had to rush it out after they started filming.
I never read a script, and we're just shooting it.
I mean, they know how it's gonna end. They just have to, write it down.
It's not like we don't know the ending. It's like it's all plotted out. I just have to write it.
There are multiple crew members stressing out about the timeline that's been thrust upon them because Matt and Ross have procrastinated.
Do you have a script? No. We don't.
They have all these meetings to try to get some idea of what they need to do, but since none of it is set in stone yet, they might end up wasting a bunch of time.
Inevitably, it's going to change as we keep writing it.
All right.
I mean, just the whole new concept of like what the floor is like. We're gonna get a script and it's gonna be like, oh, there's the other like 70% of business that we couldn't account for.
I feel like there's moments where you can even see the actors starting to lose faith in the show. Like Natalia asking if there's any scientific logic behind something.
It's all very realistic.
Or this clip of Maya giving the blankest stare while watching the footage they just shot. It's really funny to juxtapose some of the responses they've given in interviews with footage from this documentary. Like the answer about there being no Demogorgons in the final fight because Vecna, didn't think to ask for their help is only an attempt to justify the fact that they just didn't want to write about to ask for their help.
Duffer Brothers explain where Demogorgons, Demodogs, and Bats were during the Abyss battle. Mainly, it's just that Vecna was not expecting to see attack on his home turf. They're there somewhere. We obviously discussed having a demo battle on top of the Mind battle, but it felt more right to us. And why does he need the demos to attack when the Mind Flayer is this giant thing that can attack them? Obviously, it didn't work. So now your villain looks stupid. Right, and it also, and this is the thing, it would have given things for the less powerful characters to do. Like in Dragon Ball during Resurrection of F, you had Goku and Vegeta popping off with Frieza, and then you had the rest of the fodder dealing with the fodder. You had Krillin, Tien, Gohan, and Piccolo fighting the Frieza soldiers. It gives things for other characters to do that are more realistic than throwing hands with this giant beast and monster. You know? You have the rest of the gang fight some Demogorgons. Their job is to hold the Demogorgons off to stop them from interfering with the battle between Vecna and 11. You know what I mean? So you have one battle with Vecna and 11 going on inside of the Mind Flayer, and then you have another battle with all the rest of the gang fighting off the fodder at the bottom. And we get to see the growth between them because they were struggling and running away from Demogorgons in the first season. But now, with their experience and knowing how to deal with them, they can use these weapons that they've crafted to actually fight on equal ground with these things. You know? It would have shown growth for every character in the show and growth for 11 to stand up and do a rematch against Henry again inside the Mind Flayer. And then you had Will, who jumps in at the 11th hour when things look bad for 11 to be like, no, I'm here. I will save you, 11. We will fight this together. And then you have Will, who overpowers Henry and Henry's hold on him, fighting with 11. And you have the rest of the gang fighting the Demogorgons, the Demodogs, and Demobats. And then you have a good conclusion there. 11th hour, pun intended. True. But no, I guess it makes more sense to just be like, oh no, Henry just didn't ask for the Demogorgons to come. Shrug. We went around just slimes out. Got a Vecna. You're right. This DBZ kills the characters, even given that they Shinron back a lot. Yeah, but that's the problem I have with DBZ as well. He gave them PTO. This job so bad.
Is only an attempt to justify the fact that they just didn't want to write about them anymore.
Yeah, I guess like I maybe wonder about demo fatigue at the...
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
That's such a funny thing to say because like, no, I'm pretty sure anyone who's stuck around this far into the show is not tired of seeing the creatures that have
also, by far, the Demogorgons are the best crafted piece of costuming in the entire show. By far. The most iconic and best looking villain in the show. That's why people like them so much.
In it since the beginning. That would be like spinning the entire Star Wars trilogy building up to a fight between Luke and Darth Vader, and then right when you get to the end, you're like, wait, don't you think people are gonna be kind of bored of lightsabers at this point? And then Darth Vader turns into a spider. I love their response when one of the writers tries to point this out.
There have to be some
also,
monsters.
This is what I'm upset about, right? Because we only engage with these monsters from what the kids call them. And the kids only call these monsters D&D terms. But they wouldn't be called D&D terms by Henry. You know? What does Henry call them? What name does Henry give them? Right? It's not called the Abyss. It's not called the Mind Flayers. They're not called the Demogorgons. What are they called? Henry's a D&D'er? Oh, Henry uses the same names? The same names for them? We never learn. And that's lame. That's lame. I don't like that. I hate that. But I think I would like it a lot more if we find out what like Dr. Brenner called these things. What what Henry called these things. And then the kids are like, those names are stupid. We're gonna stick with our names because they're better. right? It would show a little bit of character there. He doesn't call them anything. What does he say? I'm going to send my pets to get you. What is he? How does he do that? I genuinely don't know. He's like, oh, well, I'm going to get you, and I'm going to send, calls them his babies, does he? Minions, I think. Basically, yeah, it's just an extension of him like puppets. My little pretties. I can't say if y'all joking or not. We're gonna cause the void Dimension X in the stage play. Which is the void? Which dimension is that? Is that the abyss? Is that the the upside down? Is that the space around the upside down that contains the universe? Like which one is the void? You're joking. He never refers to them. I meant the abyss. My fault. Oh, okay. You know what it reminds me of, chat? It reminds me of Fan 4 Stick. It reminds me of Fan 4 Stick and what they did with Fan 4 Stick.
In the abyss.
I agree.
There has to be Demogorgon bad. There has to be some monster.
Spider. I love their response when one of the writers tries to point this out.
There have to be some monsters in the abyss.
I agree.
There has to be Demogorgon bad dog, like something. It's crazy if there's nothing there, I think.
Wow, the voice of reason. What is his response? Please, Duffer Brothers. How do you respond? Okay, cool. Thanks.
Wrong. Okay.
And that guy was never seen again. They killed him. They murdered him.
Guess that's the end of that conversation.
I mean, the thing that's cool is the giant monster.
Of course, as with most
also said nobody ever. Unless you are doing a kaiju show, people do not like the final boss to be an impersonal kaiju battle. Unless you are doing a mecha show or a kaiju show, right, that is built around kaijus. People do not want the final battle to be this impersonal conflict of giant monster fight. Raw. There's a reason why they had them enter, right, the Mind Flayer to fight Vecna on man-to-man terms, if you will. Right? Because that's more personal. Right? You see this villain you've built up, and you see this battle, right, inside of this monster between two, relatively equally proportioned people. Remember when everyone loved how that was the Moon Knight finale? Yeah, people loved what was going on there. It was their favorite thing.
In the scenes documentaries, it is really cool to see how a show this big gets made. The amount of time and physical labor, the creativity from so many different departments, the extremely delicate balance required to maintain all of these moving parts, and in this instance, how these two doofuses fucked all that up.
And then I don't know what the fuck happens to them.
I found this quote from them in an LA Times article that I thought was pretty funny. They were talking about how they went into production of the finale without finishing the script, and obviously they're describing it like it's a good thing, because they have to defend their process. But they say at the end, we're not sure if this is our fault, but Netflix won't let anyone do this anymore. They don't want to start filming before the script is done. Surely that has nothing to do with us, though. Now,
I wonder why.
Generally speaking, I'm gonna take the side of a creative team over the studio that they work for. I think a lot of what these executives push can be antithetical to the process of making art. In almost every other situation, I would put more of the blame on the studio. But they're talking about how Netflix is breathing down their necks.
We were getting hammered constantly by production and by Netflix for episode 8.
And it's
Bro,
like,
they were just like, ugh, they want to see the script that we need to write for them. Ugh. They're like, ugh, we're giving you millions of dollars to write this script and put on your passion project. And we only want to see the last episode. Ugh, So gross.
Yeah, you had 2 years to write it, and you didn't.
It was the most difficult writing circumstances we've ever found ourselves in.
The only reason there's this much of a time pressure is because they wasted 80% of the time they were given. This isn't like a workplace comedy where you could leave a couple scenes open-ended because you're gonna leave room for your actors to improvise. This is the grand finale of a high-budget, narrative-driven sci-fi show. No matter what you write, there is so much production work that goes into it. There are giant sets to build, visual effects to bring to life, the quality of which will almost directly correlate with how much time the artists are given to create them. There are hundreds of people who work on this show, and none of them can do their job until you finish yours. And you've been dicking around for 2 years. I've seen a lot of people be like, why would the Duffers even put out this documentary when it makes them look so dumb? And an important thing to note here is that they're only credited in this for their appearance. They're not listed as editors or producers. I don't think they had any control over what was shown here. Obviously, the show itself is their creative vision, but it certainly seems like this documentary was done entirely by a separate crew who came in just to film some of the process. And who knows what their motive is behind this? Going forward, the Duffers are no longer a part of Netflix. They signed an exclusive deal with Paramount that's about to kick in, so Netflix really has no reason to be loyal to them. In fact, I'm sure they loved the idea of sabotaging them a little bit before they left to go work for one of their competitors. Watching this documentary through that lens, it really seems like they did everything they could to blame the issues of season 5 solely on Matt and Rob. Because really, there are so many things in here that make the Duffers look awful. One of the hardest to watch is this conversation where one of them is talking about how he hasn't had any time to work on the script because he has kids now. And he asked one of the other crew members if he has kids, and he's like, yeah.
I was working when they were young, and,
That's never stopped me from doing my job, though. Dude, I don't think anybody should be forced to work 7 days a week. And that's awesome that you wanted to spend some extra time with your kids, but
like sabotaging a part of the Stranger Things franchise makes no sense as motivation for Netflix to love the money and milking Wild Take. Well, they can push the bug on it being bad on the Duffer Brothers so people will stick with them and don't stick with the Duffer Brothers specifically. Because the Duffer Brothers aren't making content for them. So I don't know who owns the Stranger Things franchise. You know? Like, is Duffer's putting on more Stranger Things stuff with Paramount? Netflix still owns it. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so Duffers are leaving. Netflix still owns the franchise, so they can be like throwing shots at the Duffer Brothers while they're on the way out the door to be like, "Whoo, guys, man, that last season was pretty bad, right? Well, if you want to see a good ending about Stranger Things, please come and watch this spin-off series, but from these other people," kind of thing. You know?
Like, I can't stress this enough. You had 2 full years. I'm pretty sure there was room in there for some work-life balance. You know, I think the reason I'm so drawn to
I will also say, there's just not much interesting about this universe. Right? Like, they haven't done anything that's like truly groundbreaking outside of like building compelling characters and character dynamics. The universe itself is not insanely interesting for what I've seen. Again, I only watched like the first season essentially, but like it's just nostalgia. I think Vecna made it less interesting. Yeah, I can see that. The shallow universe, too shallow of a world to expand on and spin off. The charm of the characters interacting with each other. Yeah. And so like I don't know how the spin-offs are gonna do because the world itself is not like rich. So with season 3 they went, okay, but what if Russians? Yeah. I'm saying that forever. Fans of the show act like it's the most groundbreaking, amazing show ever. Not really. I mean, again, most of its creativity comes from Dungeons and Dragons. If you are aware of like Dungeons and Dragons and the lore of like Forgotten Realms and Eberron and freaking Dark Sun and like the worlds created from Dungeons and Dragons, that's where the interesting stuff comes in from. Right? Good dig the air. Thank you. And so you can make good, compelling shows basically taking the ingredients that the Duffer Brothers made to make a better meal. Because the ingredients are not owned by them. They didn't make the ingredients, right? They just took the spices that already existed, put it together, and made something that was very good for your first couple bites, and then started to get a little bit stale after that. And you know that somebody can make something better with these ingredients. You just have to find the person that can do that. That was actually really cool. Yeah. Knowing the film industry, they'll do a Stranger Things reboot, and that's so sad. Like the D&D movie. No, it was good. I would say the D&D movie looks like it did a better job crafting and creating a good universe than this movie or this show. But to be fair, there's a problem with what the D&D movie lacked was characters. It lacked the character dynamics that Stranger Things actually had that was decent. Everyone's like Stranger Things popularized D&D when D&D has the right popularity. And that's why Duffer Brothers used it. Yeah, what actually popularized D&D was, I think Stranger Things did help, but it was Critical Role. Stranger Things definitely, it helped for sure. I'm not gonna say it did nothing. But Critical Role and COVID, trapping people inside, among other things, really popularized D&D. What's the next D&D stream? I don't know. I still need to find a group in LA to play with. I'll find one eventually. Baldur's Gate 3 2, I think. Yeah, but that came a little bit after. What is MB AM? Get a song to learn D&D. My brother, and me. I think I've heard of that. They were used before Crit Role. That took me back. I might have heard of it. I need to look it up. Funk chat. Yeah, true. Oh, they did the Adventure Zone. No, it's a related show. The Adventure Zone is a different related show. I heard of the Adventure Zone. What's Sawbones? What if wants to do a one shot for stream? Hey, if he wants characters, I'm down to play. I am down to play.
The common thread between the Duffer Brothers and some of the other people I've talked about on my channel in the past is I think I'm just fascinated seeing someone get too successful for their own good and then end up way out of their depth because of it. Like, just because Jake Paul was good at making YouTube videos for 9-year-olds doesn't mean he should write a book. Just because Ninja was really good at Fortnite for a couple years doesn't mean he should teach a masterclass about it.
My hair was blue.
And just because the Duffers are pretty good directors, which I do think that they are, doesn't mean they're great writers. They talked pretty openly about how that was never what they wanted to do.
Ross and I had no interest in writing at all.
That to them, writing was more of a means to an end, that they would only be given the opportunity to direct if they wrote their own project. Clearly, they're good enough writers. They started this show with a really good idea, but I think it's clear that the difference between a good writer and a great writer is being able to finish what you started. It's a lot easier to throw out a bunch of ideas early on in a show than it is to tie them all together.
Yeah, and the summary had a lot of plot holes in it. Am I wrong? Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I was incorrect in any of the assertions that I made about the show. Exactly. I'm not watching 5 seasons of it. I'm too busy watching Dark, and I think Dark is a lot better from what I've seen of Dark. I've seen the same amount of content from Dark that I've seen in Stranger Things, and Dark is just does the concept of like upside down dimensional travel differently and better than Stranger Things does it. But again, I don't think Stranger Things is as bad. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's like the worst show to ever exist. Get some hits, some misses, good enough for Summer Alone. I think I had most hits. I'll take that. Isn't there talk that one of the Duffer's ex-wife is actually the uncredited driving force behind the writer? People have said it. I have no evidence of it, so I can't corroborate. Basically seen the whole show. Exactly.
At the end. In early seasons, you can do almost anything. You can introduce whatever you want. It almost doesn't even need to make sense yet because you'll get the benefit of the doubt that it'll all get explained later. You can just keep kicking that can down the road. And that's all great until you get to the end and you're surrounded by all the cans you've kicked and you're like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with these? It's too late to come up with answers for all of them, so you just have to focus on the ones you think matter the most and hope to God nobody notices all the ones that you didn't. And unfortunately for Matt and Ross, this show was way too big for that to happen. A lot of these fans paid more attention to it than they did. They noticed so many mistakes that they convinced themselves that they were following the intentional breadcrumbs of a massive conspiracy theory. But watching this documentary
I think
only
they made a
makes
show smarter. I think they made a show for people smarter than they were. That's just kind of what it was. And honestly, I've been very critical, but like, it's okay to like want to make a piece of media to turn your brain off and you just watch. But I think the worst thing that they've done is market it in a way that's like, you know, all your questions are going to be answered in the final season. Make sure you tune in to Netflix every freaking Wednesday or whatever. That's honestly their biggest issue, was marketing it in a way that was like this. But other than that, you know,
the idea that the Duffers are some super genius writing duo with this giant trick up their sleeve. Honestly, kind of hilarious.
We wanted to get it right. It was the most important script of the season.
The thing that's cool is the giant monster.
That these guys were about to
I'm sorry. I can't take that quote seriously. It sounds like a child. Why do we care about all this other like fixing plot holes and, you know, tying up emotional ends and drawing good conclusions? What people really care about is actually the giant monster. That's kind of it. So that's what we're gonna do. We do giant monster. Thank you very much.
Subvert the entire medium of television by releasing a secret alternate finale in a way that nobody else ever has? No. It was always going to be the safest ending imaginable. A finale meticulously engineered to ruffle as few feathers as possible. And ironically, by being so unambitious, they actually did make a lot of people upset. I think what the finale and the interviews and the documentary all made clear is that by the end, the Duffers just didn't really care that much about this show anymore. I think more than anything else, they were just ready for it to be over.
In 10 years, when we're talking, are we talking about more stories with these characters? If you're betting men, what do you say?
I mean, I hope not. We don't want to. I mean, we really don't.
I honestly understand the procrastination because I'm sure it was so overwhelming to sit down and try to write their way out of the corner that they had painted themselves into. When you realize, oh wait, people are gonna remember all the things I've been saying for the past 10 years? I don't even remember all that shit. I think they were so stressed that they were like, you know what? Let's just wrap this thing up, do a big fight, everyone will live happily ever after, and then we don't have to think about this show ever again. But unfortunately, in their rush to move on, they've kind of retroactively damaged the rest of the show. Turns out if you abandon a bunch of plot lines and butcher most of your characters, it leaves a pretty bitter taste in people's mouths. To this day, I've still never watched Game of Thrones because I know how much people hate the ending. No matter how good the rest of the show is supposed to be, it's hard for me to want to watch it when I know I'll just be bracing myself for what's waiting for me at the end.
Okay, to be fair, I'm the exact opposite. If I know it's bad, I will watch it just to see how bad it is. That's why I started Game of Thrones. Or watch a summary. To be fair, I'm not watching this show, not because I know how bad the ending was, just because I watched the summary just so I could do this section of the stream, right? I would not be against of watching Stranger Things just to see how bad it is. I've already pretty much seen it though, so. Watch Iron Fist. I heard Iron Fist was also bad. Is it still BDS? I don't know. I probably, you know, don't pay to watch it on Netflix or something. I don't know. Was it BDS? I think people were saying don't watch it or something. I don't remember. I don't know if it was like officially like on the BDS list. Ending of Game of Thrones because a coworker spoiled the ending in an email. That's so funny. What are we watching for Black History Month? Coming to America.
Duffer said their worst fear was doing that to this show. So it's probably eating away at them to see how people are talking about it, especially since everybody is still judging them on the fake ending. How are you gonna say Conformity Gate isn't real when the evidence is literally right there? Episode 9, Super Bowl halftime show, stands full of Demogorgons, Bad Bunny turns into Vecna, Sam Darnold turns into Finn Wolfhard, and Stranger Things fans everywhere will finally get the ending we deserve. Also, 34-17 Seahawks. Thanks for watching.
When is the Super Bowl? I'm not a big sports person. Well, thank you for watching, chat. February 8th? Yeah, I think that's it. What a way to start Black History Month? Yeah. What a way to start Black History Month, indeed. Have you seen Hassan's going to Qatar to speak on a convention? Yeah, we talked about it yesterday. Look at yesterday's stream at the end of it. Did a whole little section about it. It was funny. Good to hear your thoughts on the secret finale next week. Yeah. Honestly, I think the worst part is that I won't be able to watch and dunk on it even more. Oh, yeah, you should was 30 as a slave? Yes. Be careful where you say that at, though, Chad. Because like, you know it's a meme here. We joke about it, but like, don't be going to other black people telling them to watch 30 Years a Slave. That's my take, though. And I'm tired. Watch more Dark and cry about it like I did. Maybe. Here we go. You like my hair, chat? Still a little bit painful, but it's all good. Nyx is also here. She's right there. She's sleeping. Hey, baby girl. Baby girl. High five. I woke her up. She's adorable. Yeah. Just leave you hanging. She did do that, but it's okay. She's sleeping. Yeah, so I'm gonna watch the show. Maybe I'll watch Dark. Maybe I'll watch a different show, and I'll let you know about it tomorrow. Or the day after that, because I may be taking tomorrow off because I'm tired. But we'll see. Isn't trying to steal Hassan's viewers, as she should. Have you seen Adolescents? Yes. No Grammy watch along? No. Critical Role time, bro. My final goal before I quit content creation is to Sinners 1 W. What did Sinners win? Best original soundtrack or something? Or something, sure. Take this, haters. Black History Month is in full swing, baby. Yeah. Oh, let me know in the Discord if... Let me know in the Discord if Max does a speech for his song. I went to episode 36 of Campaign 1 of Critical Role. Oh, you got past the episode 27 debacle. Did. Could you just open your mouth? Someone have me on Gummy right now? True. Anyway, much love, chat. Shout out Open Presents for the 100 gifted subs earlier today. Keeping me in business, keeping me employed. Because if I ever stop making money, I'm going to retire. Yeah. Is that it? Is that all? Oh, I'm radioactive. Oh, I'm radioactive. Yeah, if that is it, that is all. Jeez, lose my freaking head. I'll play music. I'll stop singing. Oh, this is the country song I was playing. All right, chat. I will see y'all later. Yeah. Adios.
She's from Texas, I can tell by the way he's two-stepping round the room. And judging by the smile that's written on his face, there's nothing I can do. Choosing Texas, I can tell. No from Texas, I can tell. Come on, baby.